Ready, set, go.
Greetings, undetermined spectators of the World Wide Web. I am Tall Lanky Guy. Welcome back to Depression Quest. Again, it's been way too long since I last recorded either of the games that I've been playing, but I'm getting right back into it. I'm hoping to finish this by the end of this recording session, because believe it or not, every time I open the game, I have to start at the beginning and remember all the steps that I took to get here. So, last time I checked, I was hanging out with Alex, and she is clad in what looks to be a robe with the bare skin of her legs peering out beneath. And so, I appreciate her affection, but I'm too wrapped up in my own negative feedback loops to be in the mood right now. What do? I'm gonna try to unwind first. Let's at least get a little more relaxed before getting physical. You look at her standing, barely lit, and notice there's a few candles scattered around the apartment. It occurs to you that she has tried to make this night special for the two of you. Even though you have a tight knot of antisocial frustration in your stomach, seeing how much she cares makes you want to try to melt it away so you can show her how much you care that she's gone through all this trouble. However, you desperately need to shift gears first before that's even possible. You look amazing. Let's have a drink together, you suggest, hoping that this will give you the push you need to get into the mood. You go into the kitchen and pour the two of you drinks, trying to focus on letting go of your bad mood. You sit down on the couch next to her, and she cuddles up to you instantly. What should we toast to? She asks as she takes her drink. You think for a moment. Passing up the cheesy to us option, you say what's on your mind, letting go of your bad day. To tonight. The two of you cheers, and you ask her about her day. Conversation turns flirtatious, and the two of you find yourselves in the bedroom shortly after. Alright, so glad I had a good night. I'm glad. Alright, it's an early winter evening, and even though it's not particularly late, the time of year has lent the sky an almost prematurely darkened cast. Day after day, just like today, you trudge home from a job you have increasingly come to hate. On this day, your job misery seems to have reached critical mass, and not even shedding your rain-laden and uncomfortable work clothes helps you to unwind from your work day. You collapse into your couch, blank and numb. While your job always seemed to just be an unpleasant reality of existence, it was a position you sort of fell into unexpectedly, never intending to work there long term, and it's getting harder and harder to keep it up. While it's certainly not your dream job, you always just sort of stuck it out of necessity before, but it's becoming increasingly difficult to do that. Though you couldn't even begin to imagine what else to do, you find yourself face to face with the question you just can't ignore. Is your complacency worth the price of this level of misery? What should I do? Let's try and at least be productive. Work on that project, whatever it is. You sit down at your computer to blow off some steam, but are surprised to find your thoughts drifting to your long-neglected project. I know how that feels. You talk yourself into opening it up and taking a look for the first time in what must be weeks. For whatever reason, your anger that you've been feeling towards your day job seems to have converted to pure passion, as you seem to be overflowing with ideas tonight. It's as if you've got a build-up of ideas that just haven't gotten out, and now you're in the zone. You don't get an unnatural amount of work done. You do work for a solid couple of hours, and it really feels great. What's more, you share some stuff across your social media networks, and you receive quite a bit of positive feedback, which makes you feel great. When you go to bed that night, you tell yourself that your job may suck, but at least you've got something you really care about that you can put effort into and really feel good about yourself. In fact, as you're falling asleep, you can barely even remember your workday. Alright, well, moderately depressed, you find it hard to focus on anything because you get physically and mentally exhausted very quickly. You are in therapy with a good counselor. You're doing cognitive behavioral therapy techniques, and they're starting not taking medication. I'm glad that the techniques are helping. It's a little past 8 p.m. on a Tuesday night. You're at your computer, frustration levels peaked. Your eyes and sighing heavily. You're working on a project from your job that has you stretched to wit's end, trying to meet a looming deadline, and as it lurks closer and closer, you are seriously doubting your ability to get it done. You're dragging your feet a little at work due to your complete lack of energy lately, in spite of wanting to do a good job. You find yourself unable to push past it and feel horribly useless for it. You slide your hands off your face to look at your screen as it beeps at you. Hey, are you there? I really need to talk to someone about something. You feel like you're getting nowhere with your current task and you probably could use a break. However, you know that you have a history of getting distracted and losing motivation to pick something back up again afterward. If he really needs to talk to someone, I'm going to answer. That's just how I do. You're feeling like you've hit a brick wall with your tasks, so why not take a break and help out a friend? Hey, what's up? Oh, good, you're there. I just found out I got cheated on. I don't know what to do. Oh no, that's horrible. That really is. Well, the two of you talk for a long time and you lend a shoulder to your friend. You give him space to rant, cry, and most importantly, to be able to voice his inner turmoil. You give him your full attention and talk him through what his options are for what he does next. You keep him from doing something rash, and the two of you decide it's best for him to sleep on it before doing anything. Exhausted, he departs for bed and thanks you for being there to talk with him. As you close the I am window, you feel sorry for your friend, but happy that you were able to help. It serves as a tangible reminder to you that you're capable of being useful to someone, instead of solely being a mess that needs everyone else's help. You boot up your work project and find that you're suddenly able to get some solid progress done on it that night. I'm so glad. You were definitely so repressed, but things are getting better. Whatever you're doing seems to be working. You really feel like you're taking steps to affect positive change in your life. Oh man, I'm so glad. I really hope this ends well. I really hope so. Still got some time to go. It's yet another sleepless Thursday night. You're at Alex's apartment, wide awake in bed, as she's sleeping peacefully beside you. She fell asleep hours ago, and you've been laying here unable to shut your brain up long enough to fall asleep. You've added the feelings of insecurity about your relationship to the rest of the noise in your head keeping you up tonight. It was kind of a tense night between the two of you. You arrived after a stressful day at work, and as you made dinner together, you barely said a word. You were stuck in your own head and had a hard time really being present with her, as your thoughts turned to all of the ways you feel like you're deficient at being a good person and beating yourself up mentally for each one. She told you she could tell you were in one of your moods. She said that she wouldn't push you, but missed talking to you as the two of you sat on the couch together. You wanted to tell her how much you love her, but you couldn't make the words come out right and ended up sounding defensive instead. As you lay there next to her now, you trace your fingers across her arm just slightly enough to not wake her. You still haven't explained your depression to her or how you started seeing a therapist, and it's starting to feel more and more like a secret you're keeping instead of something she simply doesn't know about you yet. It's becoming more and more apparent that it's impacting your relationship with her, and you feel guilty about this. However, you're also terrified that if she knew exactly how screwed up you are, that she would already worried that she's only with you because she doesn't realize how terrible a person you are yet. You're afraid that this would be the final thing to expose you. She stirs in her sleep and squints as she opens her eyes. With the confusion that comes with waking up, she asks you if you're awake, and then if everything's okay. I feel like if I'm gonna tell her anytime, I should tell her now. Because this doesn't seem like the kind of thing that you just sort of voluntarily tell someone. It's gotta be when you have the option and when it would make sense to mention it. So I'm going to tell her. I don't know how this is going to go. I'm a little bit nervous, but here we go. You feel like a jerk for accidentally waking her up, but you're afraid if you put this off any longer, you won't find the strength to tell her everything later. No, actually, everything isn't okay. Can I tell you something? Something important? Alex sits up, rubbing the sleep out of her eyes. For the rest of the night, you lay side by side, holding hands, as you tell her everything. You tell her how it's more than just feeling sad sometimes, how you feel trapped by your own mind sometimes, how sometimes you feel nothing at all, and how you can't shake it off. You tell her how you've started going to therapy, how you feel embarrassed about it, and how it's working out for you. She listens the entire time, occasionally asking questions about how this or that works, or asking you to explain something further. She squeezes your hand and tells you she understands, and that she's sad you didn't tell her sooner. After laying silent for a moment, the weight of what you did hits you. You desperately want her to say something, to tell you how she's feeling about all of this, but you're too afraid of what the answer would be to ask. You start convincing yourself that now that she knows everything, she's going to leave. There's no way someone could deal with how you really are. So how can I help? What do you need me to do? She asks. You think for a second, and the answer you come up with fills you with despair. I honestly don't know. I wish I knew how to fix this, but I don't know that you can do anything. I think it's something I just have to live with. She looks at you with sad eyes before kissing you on the forehead. Then I'll live with it with you. I don't know how you could possibly love me. She rolls over and wraps her arms around your neck, setting her head on top of yours. You don't need to. Just know that I do. Sorry. It's a Friday night, and you're laying across her bed feeling pathetic. As you were leaving work tonight, a group of co-workers asked if you wanted to join them for drinks. Feeling antisocial and put on the spot, you declined. You have a habit of doing this. You're often so convinced that you are weird and terrible, and that any invitation to hang out will end in disappointment for those inviting you. You never feel like you know how to act in group outings, and you feel like a total creep since it seems to come so naturally to anyone who isn't you. You find yourself petrified of breaking some unknown social rule that you don't often go out. Now, however, you find yourself at home. Your brain has begun telling you how pathetic and sad you are for being unable to just be a normal person and go out with nice people. You can't figure out why you can't just go out and meet people and enjoy yourself. At the same time, you're also feeling like no one would possibly want you to hang out if they really knew you, because you're dull and weird anyway. You try your typical strategy and boot up Netflix to distract yourself from these feelings, but frustration with yourself builds, and you realize you have to do something else with your night. Anything else to take your mind off of how awful and lonely you feel right now. Let's see what we got. What do we do? See if Attic is online, call Alex, drink, go out somewhere alone. Play with your cat. Yes, that sounds like the best thing, because it's mindless, but it's entertaining, and it's an easy source of joy and laughter. Let's play with the cat. Nights like this, you're very glad you made the call to become a cat owner. Feeling too socially burnt out to interact with other people, you go find your cat. You get her to chase a laser pointer for a solid 30 minutes before she tires herself out. It's amazing. She pads over to you and collapses in a heap in your lap, purring loudly. Though initially she hated being picked up, you carry her to the computer desk with you, and she doesn't object. Setting her down in your lap, you comfortably surf the internet for a while before heading to bed. Having her here with you has a calming effect, and it makes you feel a lot less alone. Yes, cats are good for that. Yeah. It's a cold Saturday afternoon. You've just arrived at Alex's apartment, and you're happy to finally see her after a week of absence due to your schedules not lining up due to work and school. You hug her in the doorway, but she breaks away sooner than normal and sits down on the couch as you take off your sneakers and lay them in the usual place, right next to hers. There's something I was hoping we could talk about, actually, she says. You instantly worry that you're being blindsided by a breakup conversation due to the sudden shift in tone, but she quickly smiles and puts you at ease once she sees all of the color leave your face. It's nothing bad, I promise. With that, she leads you over to the couch and sits on the other end of it facing you. So, I hope this doesn't freak you out, and if you feel like things are going too fast, just tell me. She talks faster than usual and fidgets. We seem to have a lot of weeks like this, and they really suck. I was thinking I'd ask, since things are so strong with us, what are your thoughts on maybe moving in together? Takes a few seconds to sink in, and leaves you a bit shocked when it does. You were worried she wanted to spend less time with you, not more. Do you want to, you ask? Well, yeah, I do. I mean, we'd have to sort out logistics and everything, but those are all things we can take care of. You start to walk through the steps of imagining the two of you living together. You love the thought of being able to wake up next to her every day and seeing her so often. However, the more you picture it, the more a few concerns become apparent. There are things she is insulated from, like the days you don't feel like you can even get out of bed. Frequent nights you're unable to shut your brain up long enough to sleep. All of those moments you're stuck staring at the wall, completely out of energy and feeling nothing. How would she handle that? How quickly would she want to get away? So she starts. What do you think? And we will have to pick an answer in the next episode. Glad I'm getting back into this. Glad I'm doing this. I feel like it's important. So, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, go ahead and click the like button. If you got some comments as to what's all been going on in this, do that. Make sure you're being sensitive to people. If you haven't subscribed, I guess that's a thing you can do.